Hello there, Lunar Squadron. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another Star Wars Jedi Survivor video. Today we are going to be talking all about a brand new article out of The Loadout, which claims that Star Wars Jedi Survivor needs to fix Fallen Order's frustrating ending. After we read this article, we noticed that there's actually a lot of Star Wars Jedi fans who share in this sentiment that Jedi Survivor has a responsibility, a duty, a onus to fix the atrocities that were lain by Respawn Entertainment in their ending in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. We're going to be talking all about that ending, whether or not we think that Jedi Survivor has a responsibility to fix it, and exactly what this conversation entails. We're going to get into all of that in just a moment. However, first guys, if you're new to the channel, we would absolutely love to have you. All you got to do is hit that little red subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell notification button right on next to it. It's going to let you know every single time that Nick and I post the latest and greatest Star Wars and Star Wars gaming content here on YouTube. Right, Nick?
Yep, damn right. All right, let's talk about another stupid argument for Jedi Survivor.
For those of you who don't recall the ending of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, we all spend the duration of the game hunting down the Holocron that we are sent on a wild goose chase to go find by Seer's Master Cordova. And once we do find that Holocron, Cal makes the very rash decision to slice the damn thing in half, and some people feel that this makes the whole journey worthless. Nick, what say you about this? Is this an ending that you really are frustrated by, or was Cal a very wise Jedi in protecting all of these younglings from being slaughtered by the Empire and Darth Vader?
Yeah, so when we looked around, I did not think that this was a sentiment that a lot of people had. I didn't even know this was an argument that existed in the first place in regards to the ending of Fallen Order and how Jedi Survivor has an onus to fix it. But when you take a look around, you will find various articles from over the last year or two, from even the last few months after Jedi Survivor was announced and got its gameplay trailer. You'll see posts about it on Reddit about how Fallen Order's ending was awful and frustrating and didn't make any sense. And that was just not something that I ever felt when I played through Jedi Fallen Order, because I don't feel like that's what Fallen Order was about. Yes, I know you go out, you're looking to find this holocron that has the location to various Force-sensitive children in the galaxy, and you're trying to get your hands on that list before the Inquisitors, Vader, or the Empire can get their hands on it and use it. And eventually, like you said, you get your hands on it, and then you make the decision at the end after escaping Fortress Inquisitorius and escaping Darth Vader that, hey, it would be better off if we destroy this list, therefore the Empire and Vader have no way to get their hands on these locations. It would be better off for those children and for the galaxy to make that decision. And I never had a problem with that ending, because I don't think that this game's story was about the chase to find the holocron and the journey to find the holocron. To me, Jedi Fallen Order was always a story of self-discovery, Cal trying to find his place in the galaxy because his life has been uprooted, it has been destroyed, and he's trying to find himself again, and he's trying to find that family that he lost in Order 66. So for me, it was always a journey of self-growth, self-discovery, finding that family again. And even Cam Monaghan has described Fallen Order as that journey to find his family once again, because Jedi Survivor, he mentioned in that interview, is going to be what happens after the fact, after you find that family and you have disagreements. So clearly, even the actor himself felt that Fallen Order was a story about self-discovery for Cal and stuff like that. So to be honest with you, Andreas, I was very surprised to come across this article last week. And it was something I really wanted to sit down and discuss on the channel and get the opinions of both you, myself, and people down below in the comments, because this honestly surprised me that this was a thing that was felt by just even this person, but apparently a wide amount of people in the fandom for the Jedi series.
This really did make me think back to whether or not I was offended by this decision, because I honestly didn't recall having a strong opinion one way or the other. I definitely didn't have, this idea that the ending of Fallen Order was frustrating or that it was a disservice. I felt pretty fulfilled by the ending. I thought it had a very cool Darth Vader sequence, and then I thought Cal really showed off his wisdom. But more so than all of that, I think that the decision to slice the holocron in half was a decision that had to happen. I mean, if you just consider canonically what would occur if Cal held onto that holocron and then went hunting down Jedi, trying to, raise them, teach them the ways of the Force, train them into Jedi Knights, and then start, maybe a Cal school of Jedi. That wouldn't really have a place in the original trilogy, and it wouldn't really have a place in the sequel trilogy either. So, canonically, it's just not something that could have happened. And so, when we see Cal slice that holocron in half, it just made sense to me. It made me think, yes, that is what must have happened. That's what had to have happened, because how could it have gone any other way? I think that Cal really does take one for the team. Think about all of the personal sacrifice that it took Cal to get to that point, to go through the tests that were laid in front of him by Master Cordova and all the traps that were laid by the Inquisitorium. Think about everything he had to go through to get that holocron, and then, in that moment, to be patient, something that other Jedi, like Luke Skywalker, have not had an ounce of patience, despite them being as prolific as they are. Cal shows great patience and wisdom in making that decision. And honestly, like I said, Nick, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, this is a decision which almost had to have happened canonically.
No, you're absolutely right. It is a decision that canonically had to happen. Cal could not just go off and make his new Jedi Order a handful of years before the original trilogy, and then the Jedi Order, this new Jedi Order, doesn't exist in the original trilogy and Luke and all this. Like, canonically, Cal could not go chasing after these kids to raise a new Jedi Order. It just never could have happened. And also, to me, him making that decision after spending this entire game trying to find this list, track this holocron down, and bring back his life as a Jedi, for him being willing to let that go in the end for the greater good, to me shows that he went through that journey of self-discovery and growth and all of that you were trying to accomplish and get throughout the entire game. And before we move on to the big question that is the point of this video, is whether or not Jedi Survivor has an onus to fix this frustrating ending of Fallen Order. I think you all can pretty much assume where we're going to go with this. I do want to focus in on one paragraph in the article real quick and just go through it, because this guy makes a great point and then he immediately makes a bad point. And I think this is where there is a big separation for me in his logic in regards to Fallen Order. So he says, choosing to leave the destiny of these children to the Force, the moment was surely intended to signpost a vital change in Cal's beliefs. In that regard, the ending does have its merits as a key character beat, but as a player, it felt extremely unsatisfying. Having traveled repeatedly between the likes of Dathomir, Kashyyyk, and Bogan, it all ends up feeling like pointless busy work to see this elusive object destroyed with the game's final minutes. I've died countless times to Terran Malicos, winced at the Wysock spiders, and for what? So, he makes the point. He makes the great point, the point you and I are making. It was meant to be a great character moment. That is what the game was about, was this great character development for Cal and his journey of self-discovery and self-growth. But then he's like, but it was unsatisfying because we just sliced it in half and I died countless times and it felt pointless. And I just think this guy just didn't fully grasp the ending of Fallen Order and didn't fully grasp the situation that Cal puts himself into in this time in the galaxy in Star Wars, and just where the story of Star Wars is at. And this is always going to be a problem with telling stories in this era of Star Wars, especially when you have all of this content and all of this story developed after the fact, after the period with the whole original trilogy and the sequel trilogy and all of those stories that have been told. Is you have to be very careful here about how far you take these stories, because you have to stay within canon logic. You have to stay within those bounds, and that is something that Fallen Order had to do. They had to tell a great story but still stay within the bounds of the canon, and I think that's exactly what they did. So I guess the question is, Andreas, does Jedi Survivor have an onus to go back and fix the ending of Fallen Order? Because for me, this game is set 5 years after. I was okay. I liked the ending of Fallen Order. I think Jedi Survivor would be best served not even ever referencing Fallen Order and just doing its best to tell a great AAA Star Wars story with Cal, who is a character that we've all come to love. That is what Jedi Survivor has to do.
Yeah, I really do see this the author of this article looking for some reason that Jedi Survivor has to go back and it has to fix something that's broken, or else Jedi Survivor is going to be unredeemable as well. And he makes it seem like when he's initially getting himself excited for Survivor, he just can't bring himself to do it because he's really let down by the ending of Fallen Order. But there's a moment where he's watching the trailer and he sees in the latest trailer the High Republic friend that we have all made recently, and he's holding, you know, the looking MacGuffin thing, looks like the Gillette razor from that Qui-Gon uses in Episode 1, and he's thinking to himself, you know what? The Holocron might come back. That might be some sort of a Jedi USB from the High Republic that has a backup to the Holocron, and this is how Jedi Survivor is going to redeem Fallen Order. And, you know, I wouldn't go... That could be an interesting plot point if, you know, this person comes from the past and has a backup to the Holocron, and this presents a new dimension of complication for Cal. But if that isn't the story, am I going to sit there being disappointed? Am I going to sit there feeling like, what a waste of a game? I don't think so at all. I don't think that Fallen Order was broken. I don't think the ending had to change. I'd be fine if that is the direction that they go with the story, and it would add some complication to Jedi Survivor that would be interesting. We would see a Cal that might regret his earlier decisions, and we all love regret. But I don't know if it has to do that. And frankly, I'm kind of amazed that people like this can be disappointed with Jedi Fallen Order, but then in the same breath, they might be satisfied with, say, the original trilogy, where Luke spends the whole trilogy training to face Darth Vader, and then at the very end, he shows restraint, and he throws his lightsaber down on the floor in Return of the Jedi. It's these acts of restraint which define a Jedi, which define a Jedi that's coming of age, transitioning from a Padawan to a Jedi Knight. And that's exactly what we saw in Fallen Order, as we saw Seer Knight Cal, and I think Cal acted in his Jedi Knight capacity to show restraint in that moment and not go hunting for younglings and raise them to be Jedi. I think this was a good decision that he did make, and I don't think it's something that has to be fixed. Personally, that's just me. Nick, I'm feeling like you're kind of reading what I'm writing here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Andreas. I am right there with you completely. I think, like I said, Jedi Survivor just needs to tell its own story. It needs to get in, tell a great AAA Star Wars story, tell Cal's next chapter of his story, and just put forth a good effort. That's all I want from Jedi Survivor. You know, Star Wars needs to stop feeling the need that it needs to go back and explain itself. Just believe in your story. And Fallen Order believed in its story, and Jedi Survivor needs to take the next step. Don't go backwards. Take Cal forward. You don't need to go back and explain Fallen Order. Just keep pushing his story forward. That's all I want from Jedi Survivor.
Well, there you have it, guys. There is Nick and my take on this discussion, and you all know what comes next. Let us know in the comments down below what you all think about this topic. Do you think that Jedi Survivor has an obligation to fix a frustrating ending to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? And to begin with, do you think that the ending to Fallen Order was frustrating? We really do invite a fruitful discussion in the comments down below, and look forward to hear everyone's opinions down in the comments. Other than that, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.